One caller to the LBC programme was keen to slam Keir Starmer's new Brexit plans on air. LBC Radio erupted in a tense Brexit row as caller Richard clashed with host James Brien as Prime Minister Keir Starmer ushers in a new deal with the European Union. Talks are ongoing to allow Brits to use EU passport gates again, along with allowing a youth mobility scheme for young people in the EU to visit the country more easily. But caller Richard wasn't satisfied and things quickly escalated into an on-air row. Asked what he would have done differently with the initial Brexit negotiations, Richard said, "What would I have done? Well, I'm not a politician, that's not my expertise. Apart from, I would have certainly sealed the borders up." James immediately had his back up as he replied, "No, but if you don't have a view on that, apart from somehow sealing our borders, when I ask you what you could or what any politician could have done differently, you've got nothing." Jays tried to change the subject, pressing, "No, well, let's forget about sealing the borders and talk about how Brexit could have gone better." He was interrupted by Richard, who insisted, "Sealing the borders is not the right words," but James corrected him, "Well, I think they were yours. Apart from immigration, how could Brexit have gone better?" Richard replied, "Apart from immigration? By having control of your own country, which I wouldn't know whether we have or not. Not being ruled by Europe." In response he got another question fired at him, with James querying, "In what way? Give me an example of that, would you?" Richard said, I can't give you an example of that." And James replied, "Does that not embarrass you?" He admitted, "I am slightly embarrassed because I'm not an expert, I'm calling in." James abruptly cut him off to rant, "Do you know who else isn't an expert on this? I am, ask me anything. But every single person who has encouraged you to support Brexit. There's not a single expert among them, and yet you're still trusting them instead of the people who have been proved right about everything." And I heard the chuckle, "And that means you're not someone who has been desperately affected by Brexit, you're not someone whose business has been shut down. You're someone who lies awake in bed in Middlesex having weird dreams about immigrants." An outraged Richard remarked, "You're very rude." But James offered no apology, fuming, "Well, I am very rude to you, yes, because of what you've done to my country. And now you're here to tell me you've got no clue about anything." Richard tried to say, "What have I done? I voted for Brexit, it was 51% against 49%. But James was having none of it as he replied, "You voted for Brexit and you still cling to the carcass that it could somehow have gone well. And apart from making life difficult for people who don't look like you, you haven't got a single clue what that means, what you want or how you'd go about getting it. So how on earth, Richard, could I not be rude to you?" Richard said, "Well, a lot of people are rude to me because I've got very strong views on certain things." But James hit back, "No, it's not because you've got strong views, Richard. It's because you can't explain a single one of them.